Welcome back to the Hostel Pandemic mini-series on hostelmanager.com. I'm Jimmy Black with the Hostel Road Trip Podcast, joined again by Bobby Dyer, ITH Hostels.
Hello.
And Julia Strippoli with Cloudbeds.
Hi, guys.
And we are here to talk about the Hospitality Helps program, which Cloudbeds is running. And it's a really cool program in this uncertain times we're in to utilize your property, but also to help out with the situation you're in and we're in as a community. But also just to hear a little bit about Cloudbeds. Julia Strippoli is one of their top new salespeople. And Julia, tell us a bit about your product before we jump into this Hospitality Health program.
Yeah, so Cloudbeds is an all-in-one hospitality suite. We work with tons of hostels. We have good functionality for working with people who have dorm beds, to naturally work with a lot of hostels around the world. ITH hostels being some of our first and favorite customers, of course. But yeah, so it's a front desk system, a booking engine for your website, and a channel manager to keep you connected and in sync with all the OTAs.
That's cool. Then you've got the unique experience of having been a hostel manager here at ITH that used Cloudbeds, and you were part of that whole onboarding process when we switched over. And now that you work there, I thought that's always been a cool thing that Cloudbeds has people that have been on the other side of the fence using those softwares and having those experiences. So it's very easy to relate to and work with your software and your company as far as making improvements and enhancements, because they're very much in tune with the hostel industry, which is rare for reservation softwares in general still.
Yeah.
So that's a really cool thing that's going on there. But in this situation, I think your company's found a really cool way to highlight how hostels can make use of their properties while at the same time being proactive and helping out with this pandemic catastrophe by utilizing their space in this Hospitality Helps program. So tell us a bit more about this program.
Yeah, so Hospitality Helps is a program that was pioneered by our founders, Adam and Richard. They just saw a gap right when this all started happening, that there's these completely empty, zero or very close to 0% occupancy hostels, hotels, properties all around the world, and in particular North America. So their original thought was to try and connect hospitals with these empty properties so that they could house patients, right? We saw in the news, everyone's freaking out about being thousands of beds short for patients and things. So that was the original intent. What it actually worked out to be once we started forming these relationships was it was more geared towards hosting like traveling nurses and traveling doctors, people who needed to stay quarantined, couldn't go home to their families. So we had more success hosting people of that sort. Hotels, I think, were probably a bit more receptive to that too. Yeah. But we had some really good partnerships formed. I know in New York City, we were able to connect some properties, which ended up being about 10,000 beds total. Wow. with the New York government, and putting them in touch. So they then went ahead and made an arrangement. And we also got some engagement from like charities. So people are being displaced due to a variety of different things, homelessness and things like that. So obviously, yeah. So putting people in touch, we weren't necessarily, people didn't always end up hosting people, but just forming those relationships so people could have that conversation.
Yeah, that's a really good point that I'm going to segue over to you, Bob, with your experience. But it's a good point that you can sign up for this program, but you still have the ability to accept or, deny the service based on who comes through the program in this way. Because you have a wide range of people. You could have someone that is just tested positive for COVID-19 and needs a place to quarantine, to a nurse that's traveling and needs a place to stay, to a homeless person that is now in, even more dire straits than before. But on that, over to Robert Dyer. What has your experience been, Bobby, with this program, as we've had some incoming from it over at ITH?
Yeah, it's been great. We've definitely been, we signed up as soon as we saw it so we could help out. And I've taken a call personally from a nurse who was looking for an area place to stay as she was helping out patients. So it's been great to be able to give back and do what we can.
That is true, and it helps out. It makes you feel good, and you can, if you have concerns about the cross contamination issues or anything, you can obviously put these people in private rooms and whatnot. But also, you see when you have these traveling nurses and medical professionals, these people are the most anal about the precautions of cross contamination. So you're going to see a person washing their hands multiple times, wiping down the doorway after they use it. So it's definitely high precaution on their end, but it's a really cool way to get involved with the community and help out. And then, it could be used as a good marketing element too. What would you have an advice for that, Bob, as far as, if you are using that, what's a good way to put a positive spin on that in collusion with the program for your hostel? Do you recommend putting that out there?
Giving back to the community, helping people out is always good for building a brand with loyal followers. So I think, just by helping out the people and, letting others know on social media they're helping out is great for building, loyal following for your brand.
Yeah, no, that's true. Now, Julia, over at Cloudbeds, is there any insight outside of the hospitality helps program that was highlighted today that more industry wide? I always like to get a perspective of people that have more of a 30,000 foot up view on the whole industry, as we had in a previous episode with the dorms.com founder. He gets to see all of the reservations and bookings from all over the world at many different hostels. So he has a great insight, much more than just our interior view here in San Diego, say, or Southern California. What are you seeing over there at Cloudbeds? Is there any hot announcements or news or anything you can give us there?
Yeah, so I've been talking with the hostel owners that I work with, and it is kind of a wide range of experiences. Everyone's in kind of a different boat. Like I have one hostel, 1802 at San Juan. Shout out to them. They're in San Juan, Puerto Rico. So everyone's in kind of a different position, right? They're just coming off of their busy season, right? And going into their slow season, whereas for San Diego, it's the opposite, right?
Yeah.
So everyone's in kind of different boats, and also, your vicinity to airports too is kind of putting people in different situations. But announcements wise, Cloudbeds is a great database of industry, numbers and data. So we do hope to have some public knowledge that we can share as far as how occupancy is looking, worldwide, or how bookings coming in are looking worldwide. So hopefully that will be some things that we announce in the next couple weeks and can share with everyone, because it is, Cloudbeds is a great resource since we do work with 22,000 properties.
Yes. Yeah. Such a depth of knowledge with that data. You're like Google of hostels. You've got all the info. Yeah. Share it with us. Now, how about you personally, as far as you have an account base that you handle and work with other people, have you seen many hostels close for good?
So I haven't had anyone yet close for good that I know of. I've talked with some other, yeah. I've talked with some other bed and breakfasts that have some more smaller, maybe a 3-room property or something like that. Yeah. I haven't had any hostels that are for sure for good. Hopefully for now, it's mostly just temporary.
Yeah, that's it. I think a lot of it depends on how long this goes for, and then how long the recovery time is. That will kind of dictate, how many come through out at the other end. But I think that type of data, if Cloudbeds could put it out, that would be a great, help for a lot of people. Because even in the situation of, if you knew it was going to be bad for an extended period of time, it gives you a better chance to make it, because you could plan for that. How do I get to this point now, knowing that this is the point? But I think it's a lot of the unknown that has a lot of the uncertainties and the anxieties. You can't make your plans, but you just continue to do your best in the marketing and tighten down the ship while you can try to roll through this.
Right.
Yeah. Have any timeline on this program, Hospitality Helps? Is there does this run through May or June, or what do you got going on with that?
So we don't have any timeline that I've heard of as far as like the end of this. I think just as it's needed, it will stay up and running. Luckily, so Cloudbeds kind of pioneered the project, but we've partnered with a whole bunch of other software companies too. So it's kind of a team effort now. So I think it's something we'll be able to keep running as long as it's needed. So I don't see an end in sight as of now.
You guys know how many nurses or people have joined the program, roughly?
So we've had over 1.2 million beds pledged.
Wow.
Which was awesome. And that happened even just in the first 2 weeks of the program coming live. I don't know a specific number of successful placements. I think the largest success was that 10,000 beds arrangement that happened in New York, but I don't know any more specifics.
Right.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's impressive.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of hotels and hostels here in San Diego shut down and convert to housing both housing COVID patients or nurses. And here in San Diego, we have the homeless problem, so they're actually converting hotels into homeless housing, which is a citywide problem we deal with. So
yeah, a lot of the properties that I talked to as well, their kind of strategy is to cater to more long-term or month-to-month kind of stays, I guess, right now for people who are coming into town or people who do still have to travel to try and get them to stay with them.
Yeah, that's a very good point. We've used that strategy with the more short-term rental. Week to week has been very popular because even the month to month is tough to make the commitment when you don't know if you're going to get your job back or what the scenario is going to be or how long it's going to last in the city in particular. So week to week has actually been a really popular thing that we've transitioned to. That's worked out well within the hostel. So it's always cool to see the creativity and how you can use your space differently in this time period. And awesome to see a company like Cloudbeds step up to allow us the opportunity to share our properties in such a cool movement that helps the community and helps out and gives the industry a good branding and a good PR bump in a country that doesn't have very good PR about this industry. So that can all be very helpful. We're very grateful to Julia Strippoli over at Cloudbeds for joining us and telling us about the program. And thank you again, Bobby Dyer from ITH Hostels, for taking the time to join the program.
Yeah, great to be here with you guys. Thanks, Julia.
Yeah, and make sure, so one way that we can kind of give back right now is through the Hostel Road Trip podcast. So if you guys want to share your link that you guys have, since you are Cloudbeds users, people could basically get their first month free for Cloudbeds if they use your link right now to sign up. And yeah, typical barriers, right? Like price and occupancy, one silver lining that's kind of broken down right now, I guess. So if anyone wanted to take advantage, definitely share the Hostel Road Trip podcast link with them.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that. They do say that the podcast is fueled by Cloudbeds. So we're always grateful for that sponsorship and look forward to hearing from you again in the future, and also looking forward to those reports from Cloudbeds on the industry data. That would be really exciting for everyone to see. But thank you again, Julia, Bobby, James, Black here with the Hostel Road Trip podcast. Until next time, best of luck.
You guys.
Bye, guys.